Howdy, Cat Crew, thanks for coming by. I have a bunch of stuff to talk about today, so buckle in to hear my exceptionally mediocre voice. For this video, we're going to be talking about the job changes that are coming with 6.0 Endwalker. Some classes are getting more attention than others, and we're getting two new classes, Sage and Reaper. Alright, well let's get into it and start with the changes occurring to the general player base. There's nothing to mention about PvP or Disciples of the Land or Disciples of Hand until the next letter from the producer. There will be a lot more information provided later regarding that, I'm pretty sure. Recast time of most primary abilities is being adjusted to align with a 60 or 120 second timer. Not all abilities have been adjusted, such as Leyline for Black Mages, it's still 90 seconds. Any class that deals physical damage, including tanks, melee, and physical range DPS, there will be parity between the physical and magical damage attributes of weapons at the same item level and accompanying changes to actions potencies. This means things are going to appear weaker because of the stat squish that's occurring, but they will actually be stronger or the same in percentage-wise. For ranged magic DPS, Addle's effects will be changed to reduce magical damage dealt and will also reduce physical damage dealt. However, magical damage reduction will be more potent. As for healers, new actions that apply single target buffs will be added to each healer. Cast time for offensive spells will be reduced, and the limit break area of effect will be expanded to 50 yalms. So, no more of that, like, oh, I wasn't in the range of that limit break 3. Sorry. Yeah, you don't have an excuse now. Healers will also have the definition of a pure healer or a barrier healer with the addition of the new healer class or job. For melee, DPS Feint's effect will be changed to reduce physical damage dealt and will also reduce magical damage dealt. And physical damage reduction will be more potent. So it's, the opposite end of, yeah, you get it. Physical range DPS and buffs that mitigate damage have been readjusted to a 90-second recast time. So we'll see how that works out. And tanks are having a system in place where using their CDs optimally will benefit the entire group more. After using some abilities at the right time, you gain further benefit. Such timing means that not only the tank gets a defensive buff, but so does your party. Overall, they've attempted to make rotations a little bit smoother so you don't have to break your combo chain. Made things more friendly from a DPS standpoint, in my opinion. Healers should still be able to apply damage with shorter cast times on their offensive spells, and generally everyone should be getting to do more actions per fight. Now for the fun part, getting to the specific information on different jobs. We'll start with Paladin. Paladin is getting some good changes, I think. Requiescat, I don't even know if I said that right, will now be equally effective regardless of the remaining MP they have. And they will get a 3 attack combo starting with Confiture. That'll be added. And then Intervene has been increased to 20 yalms, so they get a 5 yalm increase. Warrior damage up effects can now be triggered and extended by AoE combos. Onslaught and Upheaval will no longer drain their beast gauge, and they're getting a new action available upon execution of Inner Release. As well, Inner Release's cast time is being adjusted to 60 seconds and castable 3 times. So, go wild. For Dark Knight, Salted Earth will now affect the area immediately around you and make a new action available. Your Simulacrum will also gain a new action. Simulacrum will also gain a new action when you acquire one of the new job abilities. Living Shadow gets more abilities, and then Delirium recast time will be adjusted to 60 seconds. Your plunge range is increased to a total of 20 yalms, and there will be a new action separate from the Dark Knight as a single target defense buff, so it looks like you'll be able to apply a defense buff to someone else. Not sure how it works, but this is all subject to change anyway. But on to the last tank, Gunbreaker. So it looks like Savage Claw and Wicked Talon will now swap in for Gnashing Fang on the hotbar. They want to reduce the number of inputs, so basically the combo that starts with Gnashing Fang will be a one-button combo, so to speak. So it's replacing both Savage Claw and Wicked Talon, to my understanding. I could be wrong about that. Continuation will be able to be used following Burst Strike. A trait you receive will raise the maximum number of cartridges to 3, and with the cartridges max stacks being raised, it should raise an element of strategy to Gunbreaker that wasn't really there before. And that does it for tanks. Overall pretty good. I think things are looking nice for tanks in 6.0. Let's go on to healers. We can take a deeper look at them and look into the new job. So for White Mage, they're getting a functionally and visually distinct restorative field action added onto them. White Mage will be falling under the pure healer category, and a higher tier for the holy spell will be added so you get more lilies and do more damage. Unfortunately, Fluid Aura has been removed from White Mage, which is a big sad, but that's okay. Divine will become a charge action, but with White Mage things are still pretty straightforward, so there's not a whole lot to worry about. For Scholar, they are going to be a barrier type healer. They get a unique job action which can enhance the party's movement speed even during combat. That'll be added. It's like Sprint, but it does not overlap with Sprint, so one at a time. To be honest, it feels like Scholar kind of got the short end of the stick with the updates that were announced, so sorry to any Scholars watching currently. For Astrologians, they're going to be pure healer. Diurnial Sect and Nocturnal Sect are going to be removed, and basic healing actions will be adjusted to have the same effect as they would have while under Diurnial Sect. There will be an action called Neutral Sect that will allow you some barrier spells, and the effect of divination will be changed, and the seals used for new enhancements applied to self. What that means is, depending on the seals being used, it allows you to apply different buffs to yourself. Redraw will no longer be a charge action, but it will be changed to every time you draw, you can use it once. There will be an AoE spell that has a healing effect, but also an offensive element to it, effectively getting their own AoE effect like White Mage, but with no stun. So, and could have been better for Astrologian too, but not as bad as Scholar, because Scholar didn't get anything. And for the new healer, Sage, it looks awesome. They're the second barrier healer defined. They're able to attack enemies and heal designated party members simultaneously, which basically means it plays similar to a Discipline Priest in World of Warcraft. It draws upon unique resources for healing and enhancement and attack magic. So you designate a party member to heal, and as you do damage, whoever you designated will receive the healing of the damage that you're doing. It's like a percentage of damage goes to them as heals. Another unique thing is sometimes when you hit an enemy after casting specific spells, you can apply a dot. The resource they use is called Adder's Gall and builds up over time, and that lets you apply instant barrier spells. It definitely looks like a technical healer, however it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, and who doesn't love the idea of little pew-pew laser daggers flying around for you. It is also kind of nice because I have played a Discipline Priest before, and when you need to, get people up or keep them alive in a high intense situation, it's always nice to have a barrier to throw out for them. Let's start with the melee DPS now. I think we can start off with my personal favorite monk. Haha, perfect cat monk right here. So chakras will now be unlocked at a lower level. When conditions are fulfilled, perfect balance will allow for the execution of a masterful blitz. So what it is it's going to have 3 chakras that are added as a separate resource vendor, and so when you have those 3 chakras filled with specific things, it will allow you to do different moves based off of the 3 chakras. The available blitz changes depending on the weapon skill used when under the effects of perfect balance. So they're trying to create a yin and yang system in place with 3 chakras. With the chakra system, you'll need to activate it with perfect balance, but perfect balance can stack up to 2, so you don't have to, you can stack them or you can use them freely with different cooldowns. Each stack is charged up every 40 seconds, so it will be available a lot. With Masterful Blitz, there will be more to do, so True Strike and Twin Snake no longer have directional conditions. You don't have to be behind to get the max out of them. You can just punch them anywhere with it, so that's really nice. They are going to be taking shoulder tackle away from monks, but in its place they'll be adding a gap closer or rush action per se. With this rush movement, it is going to be for moving, so no damage, but you can also target friendly targets to rush over to them, which makes this class extremely mobile. I highly, enjoy that. I like being able to run around. For Dragoon, let's see here. AoE rotation is expanded for Dragoon. They're going to get a new action upon successful execution of weapon skill combo rotation. They aren't really adding additional abilities. However, Blood of the Dragon, for example, will now become a trait, so you no longer have to maintain it all the time. For any actions that were required for it, they'll be available because it will be active as a trait. Spine Shatter Dive is going to be changed to 2 charges. It should now become more available to use. Lance Charge is being changed to 60-second recast, and Blood Litany will be 120-second recast. So, some pretty beneficial changes to Dragoon there. It's actually not that bad. Let's see here. Then we've got Ninja. Alright, yeah, Ninja. So, actions linked to Raiton, Doton, and Huton will be added. Also, actions making it easier to apply Huton will be added. So, there's a lot going into them. With the Ninja, it's a busy class, and you can't be missing ninjutsu, so they tried to make it not have extra work to do to keep DPS up. They don't want to add a 4th sigil, and I agree with that. That seems like a terrible idea. However, Shadowfang has been done away with, so ninjas don't have a dot anymore as of 6.0, which is crazy because that was the only dot. As mentioned, there are some new actions when you're using Buinshin. There will be specific actions added as well, so we'll just see how they follow up with that. On to the next one, we've got Samurai. Looks like effects granted by Jinpu and Shifu can now also be applied by AoE combos, which is pretty nice. A new action in the vein of Laijutsu and Tsubame Gaishi will be available. They want to expand on the pure melee DPS that Samurai is, so Tsubame Gaishi, Maiko Shisui have 2 charges now. And when you are under the effect of Maiko and you go into the 3rd phase of Convocation, you will be granted the same effects of your 2nd phase. This is pretty nice. And then I think from here it's ranged DPS. And this will be the physical range DPS. So for Bards, each 3 songs will make available a new action that applies a party-wide buff. A new action will be available upon execution of Apex Arrow. There are other adjustments going on to Wanderers and Battle Pose recast timers that are being adjusted to 120 seconds. Not really that great, but not really that bad either. So, yeah. Then there's Machinist. So, a newly mechanically themed action, Chainsaw, will be added to Machinists. They're also getting a new action for Automaton Queen, so that'll be pretty cool. And then Reassemble will now be charged up to 2 charges. With that ability being charged, you don't want to waste it once it's charged, so make sure to place it and allow it to build up. The rest of the adjustments are mostly new actions being added for Machinist, so it's, there'll be a few things that are changed there. I just don't know them yet. For Dancer, weapon skill effects such as Flourishing Cascade will now be shared across single target and AoE skills. New actions will be available upon the execution of Technical Finish, Improvisation, and Devilment. With the Dancer, this allows for different buffs to be applied to your party members, so they have kept it similar to what it currently is. Prior, you had to manage AoE in single target, but the rotation should now be more manageable. I have read that that's actually pretty easy, so, I guess they just made it easier. They have a spirit applied when a dance is successful. Apparently they've changed it for the dancer themselves. The spirit is going to be a guaranteed, from my understanding. Could be wrong. But from what I have saw, it should be a guaranteed. For Black Mage, Enotion will become a trait that is automatically applied while under the effect of Astral Fire or Umbral Ice. That's pretty big. Enotion is a trait now. Under certain conditions, swapping between Astral Fire and Umbral Ice will make new actions available. Sharpcast has an additional charge now, and the changes implemented are hoping to match the timing of the battle. So they really want to try to have you fit as much DPS into the battle as possible. And I love that because, you know, big numbers, big damage. Let's go. So summoners are getting big changes. It's ridiculous. All actions applying damage over time will be removed. You heard that right, ladies and gentlemen. Summoners no longer have dots. What you're going to be able to do is summon Ifrit, Garuda, and Titan. What it appears is, like, story-wise, they're transferring energy into jewels that don't summon primals, but essentially they summon the essence of primals through those jewels. In terms of rotation for the summoner, you'll obtain elemental properties from those summons that will give you spells. So like if you summon Ifrit and you use that, you can spam his fire move until you have to go to the next summon, which, you know, you can pick any one of the 3 of them. Once your summons, you know, are out, you just spam abilities and then go to the next summon. And then once your summons are depleted, you summon your Phoenix. So the rotation is still similar, where you start with Bahamut and then, you know, go through your summons, do Phoenix. I'm sure it's going to be a big adjustment for anybody that is going to continue playing Summoner, but it does look really cool, and there is still a lot of like insta-casts that are going on there. Also, they got to keep Resurrection. Apparently it was by the skin of its teeth, so it could still go away, but it, you know, seemed like a really big shock to change everything and take away Resurrection while they're at it. Funny enough, they got Physic too. But yeah, big changes, but it looks really cool. From what I saw, you can make your summons smaller or bigger, so I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes. Alright, and then Red Mage, they get a new action will be available upon execution of Scorch. Verflare, Verholy, and Scorch will be changed to AoEs, and then available as a part of an AoE rotation. A defensive party-wide enhancement is going to be added for them. So they'll get to play a support role and have fun doing that. Embolden is at 120-second recast, and I think Manification is at 110-second recast. So not a whole lot changing. Added on a little time, but not too bad. And now for what you've all been waiting for: the new DPS being added, Reaper. It uses a scythe to attack in tandem with their avatar, and can serve as the avatar's vessel to unleash more powerful attacks. It's able to grant enhancements to the party, and unique and specialized movements give them an edge in specific combat situations. Basically, they get to teleport back and forth between their little teleport. They have a portal that they rip open, and they can go back and forth between it. They have a soul gauge as a part of their resources, so you charge soul gauge, and that allows you to unleash different attacks that apply with your avatar. Once you unleash your weapon skill plus the avatar, your shroud gauge will fill up. Once filled, you can let the avatar merge with you, and you unleash even stronger combos. So Reaper looks incredibly fun, and I highly advise checking it out more. Looks really awesome when you're possessed by your avatar, and if you're into that super edgy, dark stuff, it's probably the perfect class for you. Okay, well, that's all for today, as far as character updates anyway. Keep an eye out for my next video talking about different adjustments with the Battle Finder, HUD, and various changes to the world and items. I've linked the trailer showing the jobs' new playstyles through their abilities in my description there. To the official Final Fantasy channel. Please have a look and consider subscribing to my channel as well. I appreciate everybody that goes through it, the horrible pain of subscribing to my channel, but we can get through it together. You just got to hit that subscribe button, but don't worry about it really. I'm going to keep making these. If you do subscribe, there will be more information on Final Fantasy XIV, and I will continue to try to make these videos as frequently as possible with as much information as I can gather. Other than that, have a good one, y'all, and thanks for watching. Cat Crew out!